Hey Tarosphere, it's Holly from Cape Cod Creatures, and I am here today with another deck review. This one is for the Natural World Tarot. It's a major arcana only deck, and it is super adorable. I found it because of Nobody Here's channel. If you haven't checked her out, you totally should. And I find that her and I have similar tastes in decks, which is awesome. So anyway, I snagged this one off of Etsy. And we're just going to jump right in. So first I will say that the box is amazing. It's a super sturdy chipboard. It's got a little description on the back of the box about the deck and the artists. And then it's got the really cute dual colored floral printing. The inside of the box is finished, which I love. I hate when boxes have just the raw cardboard on the inside, and I don't know why. It's just a pet peeve. And the first thing you're greeted with is this guidebook. So it's just a quick little guidebook with some basic meanings. There are no spreads inside, but the thing that I do like is that the guidebook is in full color, so that you get all the images on the cards. You'll have to excuse I've got the front door open and all the noise from the street is coming in. So all of the images, you can see them in their full glory right in the guidebook. Let's see. And then it's got thank yous and supporters on the back. But like I said, other than that, and then the cute floral print on the back. But other than that, there's no spreads or anything. And the meanings are pretty short and to the point. It's got the thing that I will say that's kind of cool is there are some associations, like the Chariot's moon, water, and Cancer, and then it describes why she chose the animal that she chose. So this is a nature only deck, with the exception of, I think the wheel is, there's still no people, so there's absolutely no people in this deck. But anyway, we're gonna jump right in. Here's the bottom of the box. Again, nice and finished. So the cards are oracle card size. This is a large deck. I would imagine this is probably the same size as the Star Child with borders. It's the same size as some of the Rockpool Publishing cards. They do have a nice luxurious satiny matte feel to them though. They're not glossy. The back is really fun. It is reversible, so if you choose to read reversals, you can absolutely do that with this deck. And they are flexible. I am unsure if they're coated though, as far as being protected from the elements, so I would say don't go out of your way to spill your drink where this deck is concerned. And then let's jump right in. So we start with the Fool, which is a fawn, and that's, they're born ready to walk and they take their first steps. They're very trusting. It's absolutely gorgeous. We'll kind of focus in on it for you there. With the little flowers, and the detail in the paintings, you guys, is just amazing. For the Magician, we have an ocelot. The High Priestess, we have an owl. And then for the Empress, I actually really like what she did with the Empress, the Emperor, and the Fool. So let me go ahead and grab my Fool. You've got a whole family of deer. So for the Fool, you've got the fawn. For the Empress, you've got the doe. And you've got the nice little feminine symbol there. And for the Emperor, you have a stag. I also enjoy how she subtly works in symbolism. On the ocelot, okay, you wouldn't really think of the ocelot as a magician, but you've got his little infinity sign, and then you also have the element signs above. So that it does evoke the ocelot. The magician. So, but it's subtle hints. And then you've got a turtle for the Hierophant, and usually we're used to seeing the turtle or the tortoise. We're used to seeing him as the hermit. But if you think about it, tortoises live a really long time, and well, they're not necessarily solitary, they are absolutely wise. So the hermit sometimes doesn't always, the hermit, we think of them as the hermit because they can retract inside their shell, but they are very social. Sorry about that. I had some customers. So if you think about it, yeah, the tortoise is a little more fitting of the of the Hierophant because they're very wise. They've been around a while. They know a lot. You know, I would imagine they'd be a little set in their ways for having been around for so long. So yeah, you've got him for that, and then you've got the two keys, of course, to kind of remind you that, yep, this is indeed the Hierophant. And then you've got the lovers with the horses. So I loved that she mixed up, usually you'd see horses as the chariot, but I love here how they're lovers. And you've got the wolves for the chariot. So her reasoning behind it is really interesting, so I will leave that to you to read, because I don't want this to be full of spoilers. Strength, you've got the classic lion, but he is absolutely gorgeous. We're all used to seeing lion as the imagery for strength, but I mean, he's just exceptionally beautiful. And then you've got, for the hermit, you've got a honey badger. I love it. So honey badgers are way more fitting of the hermit. Like, they're very intrepid, but they're also very solitary, very smart, super into like problem solving and figuring things out, and like kind of finding their own way. And if you think about it, that is kind of what the hermit's journey is all about. And then the Wheel of Fortune. I love how you just get some astrological symbols and like this galaxy swirly thing. This card is neither good nor bad. This is a very neutral depiction of this card, which I enjoy. So this is like one of the only ones that doesn't, I think there's one more that doesn't depict any animals at all. But this is the least naturey of them all. And then you've got Justice with the tigers. The Hanged Man, you see an opossum, which is really, or a possum, a space possum space, depending on where you are from. It's going to depend on how you decide to pronounce possum. Here they're possums. And then the Death card, this is one of my favorites. So death, when birds die, when they get sick, it's usually very sudden and it's very swift because they're a flock animal. So they tend to hide when they're sick, and they don't give you any signs that they may or may not, or at least pet birds anyway, but they're flock animals. So they are not going to outwardly show any signs of illness or trouble or aging because they don't want to be kicked out of the flock. So when they do die or get sick, it's usually very sudden and kind of unexpected. And that's the kind of change that the Death card is indicative of. It's all about swift and sudden change and how to deal with it. It's also about rebirth. So here you've got the flowers kind of bursting forth from this bird's chest. And I love this one. This one like really speaks to me about death, about what the death card really means. And then you've got Temperance. You've got this beautiful bear. I am unsure what this constellation is though. So if anybody knows, kindly tell me in the doobly-doo below. I am pretty sure this is not one of the Ursa constellations. So if you could let me know which one that is, that would be amazing. And then you have the Devil. And the biggest comments I've seen about this card would be that it's very similar, and there are some similarities between this deck and Wild Unknown's Majors, but this one specifically, because you've got a goat. Wild Unknown, I believe, uses a ram, but you've got a goat and he's standing in fire. But here you get a lot more symbolism. You get a lot more symbolism as far as the traditional Devil card's concerned. You get the upside down pentagram carved into this goat's forehead, and then you also get the male and the female standing below in the fire, which you would see on the traditional Rider-Waite card. You'd see the man and the woman in chains. So you get a little bit more of a reminder that this is about being the devil. And here we have, this is like one of my most favorite cards in the deck. This is the Tower, and I love the depth created, like the use of negative space and lighter colors used to create just the depth of this storm cloud. It is absolutely 100% beautiful, and I just love this card. And for the star, you have an otter. And the other thing that I will choose to show you too with this deck would be for the sun and the moon. The moon, you have a white card in a white background with a moth and the moon phases. And then on the sun, you have a black background with a butterfly and like the little sun symbol. You would almost expect to see the two backgrounds reversed. You would, like, I would expect for on the sun card to have the sun card to have like the white background, and for the moon to have the dark background. So it'll be interesting to see how that influences a reading. And then you have Temperance. This is a beautiful, not Temperance, I'm sorry, Judgment. This is a beautiful Judgment card. Trying to get it to focus for you. Absolutely beautiful. I can tell you from experience, it is super difficult to paint birds from head on because their beaks head on are just really weird looking. There's kind of nothing you can do. So she did a fantastic job with that. And last but not least, we have the World card, which is a cumulonimbus and this cute flower mandala. So, I mean, just like, it's gorgeous. Again, the use of different colors to kind of build on and create depth here is amazing. It just, this looks like, you know, what is it? Pink sky at night, sailor's delight. Pink sky in morning, sailor's warning. So it just looks like one of those awesome sunsets with like the pinks and the purples and like the really cool colorful hues. So we're gonna do a quick draw with this deck. So shuffling, really not that easy because it is a bigger deck. Thankfully there's only the 20 some odd cards, so it's not super hard to kind of get your hands around it. Like, it's, you're not battling with a thicker deck, but it is a bigger deck. So for those of us that are good at this, unlike me, you can do the long way hand over hand. You can rifle it. I don't really tend to like to rifle shuffle my smaller decks, but it does rifle pretty well. But I think you get a decent shuffling with just doing it this way and then doing a rando pick. So because it is a major arcana only deck, this deck is good for for meditations. It's good for one card pulls. It's good for major themes, but I wouldn't do a huge spread with it. I would maybe do 3 cards, but you guys all know how I feel. Major arcanas are like, they're major cards. There's a reason they're called majors. It's because they deal with big overlying life themes, and you don't need to pull a bajillion of them. They're also good. You know, they're also, like, there's only 22, so the more you pull, the more you kind of, you're playing the chance game at that point. Like, it's like the message just becomes muddled. There are only so many cards in this deck, and the more cards you pull, I think the meaningless the message becomes. Oh, hang on one second. So anyway, forgot where I was, sorry about that. All right, so we will just go ahead and do a pull for the cards. To kind of maybe get an overlying theme for the day, maybe? Let's do an overlying theme for the day. Okay, that's probably shuffled enough. And then I will say they are kind of sticky when you fan them out. See the big chunks? So that's kind of obnoxious, but I think if you get them kind of fanned out and get a good feeling for, like, you know, you get like that feeling like, yeah, that's the one. Okay, for us, we have the Chariot. It is the Go card. All right, so let's go ahead and see what the guidebook says, because you know what that'll be. I haven't actually read the guidebook yet, so we'll see why she chose wolves for the Chariot. So she says, wolves will do anything to keep themselves and their pack alive and thriving. Never dormant, they are constantly gaining ground to ensure survival. The 2 wolves represent the duality and balance. Your goals are important, but so is keeping the rest of your life in peripheral vision. Move strategically, not impulsively. A wolf needs its pack, and don't forget yours. So that's kind of an interesting interpretation of the Chariot card. So I think that is, you know, that's a good theme. Like, we're all busy. We all have, like, stuff going on in our lives. And while we should certainly reach for and achieve our goals, it's important to not forget the other people and things in our life that we enjoy. So that's our message for the day, you guys. And I hope whoever needed the message received it. And I will see you guys later tonight.